Diddle-a-diddle-a-mo, diddle-a-bo-diddle-do, hula-hula, diddle-a-bo-diddle-a-bo, diddle-a-bo-diddle-do, diddle-a-bambo, diddle-a-bambo, diddle-a-diddle-a-diddle, zip-a-dum-bo, diddle-a-ba-da-ba-ba-diddle-do, diddle-a-bo-diddle-do, diddle-a-diddle-a-diddle-a-bo, diddle-a-bambo-diddle-do, hula-hula, diddle-a-bambo-diddle-a-bo, diddle-a-bo-diddle-do, diddle-a-diddle-a-diddle-a-bo,
I do. Thank you, that's enough. I think you've been prompted. I always feel a right prat when something like that happens. You come on dead smooth. Making Frank Sinatra look rough, you walk on, pick the guitar up, grin at the applause, and it all falls apart. Cool. Well, good evening and welcome to Buxton, a small town in the Derbyshire Pennines, famous for being a small town in the Derbyshire Pennines. I had trouble getting here this afternoon for the elephants queuing up to come here and die. It's a wonderful place. Wonderful place. When I was in Australia, who's tittering out the back there? Either laugh with the others or get out. Come on, tittering, enjoying themselves. You're not here to enjoy yourself. It's a BBC programme. This, sit quiet. Now, when I was in Australia, I want to tell you some things now, because if you feel like going to Australia for the weekend, you know, you want to go for the weekend, you can go for the weekend. You can. There's buses go from Matlock, Bath. They do. Well, it's about the only thing that goes from Matlock, Bath, actually. Man, yeah, I used to know a girl from Matlock, Bath that used to go. Yeah. Silly fool, stop it. But no, if you do decide to go, I mean, I want to just explain some things. I used to do a whole routine once, I think it was on the telly one time, about American English, about how different it was, American English. Now, words like faggot had a different meaning in England to what they did in America, and you know, to lose your cherry meant something entirely different in America, you know. Well, in Australia, they do have a lot of different words as well, so I better explain them in case you do decide to go, because you can be, you know, very confused. I mean, we got off the plane, Dave, the roadie, and me, who's at the back doing all the sound mixing. Dave and I got off the plane, and we were met by this representative of the Australian Arts Council. You could tell he was from the Arts Council because he was falling over all the time, wobbling about. You know. He sort of came up, John Renfrew, wonderful bloke, amazing character. I could tell you hours and hours of gags about him. Big beard on him, falling all over the place, big shirt, like big can of Foster's Lager, like you can. I said, hello, mates. Bloody dink and blue. She'll be bloody right apples, she bloody will, mate. Bloody apples, she will. Bloody right, mate. She'll be bloody right, bloody dink and bloody singing, mate. Bloody get down and have a few beers for you. It can't go wrong, mate. Hey, bloody well, what? I said, well, I take milk and no sugar, actually. I said, I couldn't understand him. It had a month. It took me a month to understand what they were saying. She said, it's worse than being in Birmingham. You know. How can 3 million people have a speech impediment, eh? But then was it in Australia, like, and this lad John, he said, well, mate, he said, the first thing you got to do, he said, you got to drive to the concerts, so we've got to hire a car for you. You've got to hire a car, right? Now, when you hire a car in Australia, you've got to make sure the car has got rhubars on it. I said, he's got what? He said, you've got to make sure the car's got rhubars on it. Now, I found out later that rhubars are big, huge iron bars that they have on the front of the cars, so when they're going down these roads in the outback, you know, they can knock the kangaroos off the road. Truthful, I kid you not, because apparently these kangaroos have a drink problem, you know. And they get slopped up and wobble onto the road singing, tie me man down, sport, tie me man down. And they got these bars on to knock them out of the way, but I didn't think he said rhubars. I thought he said rhubarb. So I said, what you got to have that on the front of your car for? He said, if you ain't got it on the front of the car, they fine you $100 a day. I said, for not having rhubarb on the front of my car? He said, yeah, that's right, Blue. Bloody apples it is. Bloody apples, my bloody oath, mate. So I thought I'd better have some of that. And I went to the greengrocers, about £40 worth of rhubarb. I did. I tied this rhubarb all over the front. Me and Dave, we were up all morning lashing it on. Luckily, there were some iron bars on the front of the car, so I got something to tie it on, you know. I said there must be rhubarb bars these days. They're very handy, aren't they? So I tied the rhubarb on the rhubarb bars, and we're driving off through Darwin, and as we're driving along, people are taking their hats off, saying, take your hat off, it's an Italian funeral. Amazing. Amazing. And there's another expression. It's your shout over there means it's your round of drinks. It's your turn to buy the drinks. Oh, I'm there in the bar having a few frosty, like drinking away, glug, glug, glug. And this fella comes up and says, all right, you little pommy bastard. He said, it's your shout. I said, what? He said, it's your shout. I said, OK, right, OK. Kerry Packer's a puff. Bottles, chairs flying. All off. Another expression they've got over there, the verb to chunner. Now, to chunner round here as well, mostly in England, most of England, to chunner means to talk, you know. What are you chunnering about? Shut up, chunnering. Hey, rabbit, 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 chunnering away. To chunner in Australia means to be sick. To void the contents of one's stomach, yes? Or as the Australian expression goes, the big spit. The liquid laugh. Sheer poetry, eh? Sheer poetry. Yes. Yodeling down the big white telephone. Yodeling up your breakfast. Wonderful expressions. So I didn't know this. At this party with this bloke, he's giving me GBH of the year all about cricket and how bad we are at cricket. I know we're bad, you know. But he's giving me plenty tennis in the ear. I can't get away from him. In the end, I said, I'm going in the next room where all the women are, because women and men drink separately in Australia. They don't like to know that each other drinks, you know. So I said, I'm going in the other room with the girls, like. He said, what for? I said, well, I'm going to have a bit of a chunner, like, you know. He said, I'll come with you. He goes in and says, hello, girls, how's it going? Are you all right? That's right, you girl. What's going on? You barn pot, you headbanger, go on. Barmy. Another expression they've got over there, well, an expression we use over here, but it's got a totally different meaning. To root. Now, you know, to root, it means, it's an old expression for to look, like if you're going to look for something, you know, I'm just going to have a root in the back cupboard for my football boots, you know, I'm going to have a bit of a root. Or it might mean to root, to plant little seedlings, you know, to root. To root in Australia, it means dip your bread. That's what it means. Yes. Yes. Rumpo, rumpo, that's what it means. All that armchair wrestling in the Borgias, that's what it's all about. So I don't know this. Nobody tells me. They should give you a phrase book when you go over there. I'm talking in this big place like in Adelaide, and I'm telling this story about how when I was a kid in school in Manchester, you know, and so you mention Manchester or any town in England, you get all the poms going, hey, Manchester! Hey! And all the others are saying, shut up, you pommy bastard. So as a kid in school in Manchester, I said, and this woman used to come round once a month from the health authority, like, you know, and she'd come round, and she, you know, I said she was Nitty Nora, the bug explorer, we used to call her. You know. The knit nurse, I said, she'd come in our classroom looking for mechanical dandruff, right? I said, and she'd line us all up, she'd line all the kids up, I said, she'd line all the lads up first, she said, and then I said, she'd have a good root, you know. Said, yeah, get all the lads lined up, have a good root, you know. I'm getting laughs where I've never had them before. They're rolling on the floor, they do the Technicolor yawn all over, everything's going off, the barmy, they're going, they're beating the floor, kicking the legs in the air. I said, all right, she'd root in our school, then she'd go and have a root down the next school. I said, spend all day going around town rooting, yes. Well, I came off at the end of the night, I felt about 8 foot tall. I thought, magic, love Australia, going to go and live here, I think it's brilliant. This fellow said, did you know what you said then? On nationwide television, did you know what you said then? Apparently the phones were melting, like, you know, these farmers shooting themselves in the outback, you know. End of civilization as we know it, you know. I said, what? I just said, he said, shut up! I said, well, what was it? And he told me what it, I said, it doesn't mean. He said, does? I said, yes. I said, you mean this? He said, yes. I said, bugger. Root me, I said. That'll go. That'll go. I said, bet you a fiver. I said, you really mean it means that? I said, yeah, he said. I said, well, that must mean there's certain expressions you can't use in Australia, like rooted to the spot. Or the AA have worked me a route out. Ah, that's great. Can you get her to work me one out too? You know? And, I mean, things like, what, arrowroot. Arrowroot. I mean, something Robin Hood had once, I don't know. Beetroot must be something sadists do to masochists. Ginger root. Fred Astaire must have been very happy about that one. And I'll tell you what, you could make a fortune over there selling rooting powder, couldn't you? Buy some rooting powder? I tried this here rooting powder. I just got twigs on the end of it. Gotta have it pruned every month now. Seriously, I mean, I'm not kidding. I wouldn't want you to go over there ignorant, not knowing this. I mean, and the wonderful, I mean, because it's a new country and because there's a lot of immigrant people, they've got wonderful expressions. I mean, certain expressions describing bodily functions are unbelievable, you know. I don't mean putting your hat on, I mean other bodily functions, you know what I mean? I was in this place one night, and this fella got up, and he meant he was going for a Jimmy Riddle, like, you know what I mean? You know, Gypsy's Kiss, and he stood up, he says, right. He said, well, mate, he said, I'm just going to siphon the python. Really? Brilliant. Wonderful expressions. Cosmic, man. And, I mean, there's another bloke going, he was going off, and he was going for a number 2, you know. A pony and trap. Like, and he stood up, he says, well, mates, I'm just going to choke a darky. Really? Really? I'm on the phone to the police. Quick, quick. There's a bloke here strangling Aborigines. Get over quick. Another expression, I'm just going to see a brown friend off to the sea. Oh, it's amazing. I mean, the mix-ups, can you imagine the mix-ups you could have? I mean, another thing, I could hardly believe this. I could not believe this. I found this one really hard to believe. But the trade name for sellotape in Australia is Jorex. Did you know that? Can you imagine the confusion? You go into Woolworths, can I have a Jorex, please? Jorex? Oh. Do-it-yourself job, eh? Have you got any knitting needles, sir? I mean, really, truthfully. I'm in this bloke's house, smashing fella, down the bottom end of the country, Geraldton there, and I'm having Sunday dinner with him and his family, all the kids all sat round, been invited to the house. Right, smashing, eating there, right? Finishes his dinner, he stands up, he says, well, I'm just going to get some Jorex. So I've got a fork stuck in the side of my head. What? I said, do you want me to take the kids out for a bit or anything like that? He said, no, I'm just going to tie some parcels up with it. I said, well, that's one way of smuggling them into Ireland, isn't it? Don't cut the string, Sean. Your father wants it. Oh. True. Well, they're amazing. I mean, the other thing that was unbelievable, the last thing that actually happened to us, me and Dave, just as we were leaving Darwin on the last night of the tour, we're in this hotel. Now, they've got this bird in Australia, not a flap type bird, you know, feathers. And it's called the cormorant. You've probably heard of it. But the Australian name for a cormorant is a common shag, right? So we're in the hotel that night, checking out, and this woman came in, loads of suitcases, staggers up the steps of the hotel, drops the suitcases and stands there in the foyer. She said, I feel just like a shag on a rock. Really? What? Me and Dave are going all over the hotel looking for boulders. Anybody? It's true, honest to God. But the favourite expression in Australia is, she'll be right, mate. She'll be right, which means everything's going to be okay, no worries, she'll be right. You know, they say this all the time, it doesn't matter what happens, they just say, she'll be right, mate. You're lying there with your legs cut off by a tram, you know. She'll be right, mate, she'll be right. And so I wrote this song when I was in Australia called She'll Be Right, and there's a couple of things I probably better I'd explain. King's Cross area of Sydney, which is mentioned in the song, the King's Cross area is a sort of the Soho or Manningham Lane, the red light area of Sydney. And what else is there? Sydney? Darwin's a bit hot and steamy and wet. It's in the sort of wet area, the tropical season. And they've got poisonous things in Darwin, loads of things that can kill you or hurt you or make you frightened or make you at least wish you hadn't come, you know. I mean, really, they've got saltwater crocodiles. I mean, you think you're safe if you're not in a muddy river or you're swimming in the sea, you think there can't be any crocodiles here. Shoop, gone. They're so evil, they've actually learnt to live in salt water, these crocodiles. And they've got spiders, they've got poisonous spiders. There's a spider called the funnel web spider. If that bites you, you're dead in 3 seconds. 3 seconds a funnel web spider bites you. For years, they thought this spider was called a fur, because people ran in and said, help, I've just been bitten by a fur. You got another spider. Wait till I tell you about this one. Another spider called a red-backed spider, right? Now, a red-backed spider, when it bites you, it doesn't kill you, but it hurts, and you get a lot of pain, and you get a tremendous swelling whenever it bites you, right? It all swells up, right? And the thing about the red-backed spider, this is true. If you ever read Clive James' book, which is his autobiography, Dead Funny, you ever read it, the red-backed spider lives under dunny seats. The dunny is the outside toilet, right, in Australia, right? That's where the red-backed spider lives, under the toilet seat, which I think is bloody unsporting. I think that's rotten. Because you could be there, siphoning the pipe and boom, and you wake up in hospital 2 days later going, Can you take away the pain but leave the swelling? It's an amazing place. Oh, yes. Another thing... Shut up, Cartwright. Another thing I want to tell you that I know will never grace the screens, but this is true, and it's in the song. The Australian slang word, they have this slang word, norks. Norks is an Australian slang word for ladies' bosoms. What a horrible word for something as nice as bosoms. Norks. It's horrible, isn't it? Because I'm a feminist. I really like, I believe in women's liberty and everything, and I really like, as a man, I really like bosoms. I think they're great. I think bosoms are smashing because they're all, soft and warm and everything. I like them. Yep. In fact, if I had a pair myself, I'd never go out. I wouldn't bother. But, it's true. But, norks. Norks sounds horrible. Norks. It sounds like something out of The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings, doesn't it? Quick, Bilbo, the Norks are after us. Okay. Goblins? I don't know, you better ask them. Okay, right. So anyway, this song's got constant references to various things. It's called She'll Be Right, Mate. There is a chorus in it, but I'll do it all right on my own, so don't worry. When I went to Australia, they called me a bloody bum. Gave me ice cold beer, made me feel queer and turned me bed snake numb. I knew I'd forgotten something. Bed snakes, right? Nobody's ever died from a bed snake bite yet. Made a few people dizzy, but nobody's ever died. They said I was a good old bastard and called me their new chum. And they filled me with foaming frosties till I was fuller than a kookaburra's bum. And they said, she'll be right, mate. Ah, she'll be right, mate. Oh, my bloody oath, that stinking blue. It's your shout, I'll have a tube. Mind the flies and mind the crocs, the sharks and the spiders and the snakes. I'm going for a ground on the white telephone and she'll be all right, mate. They sent me up to Sydney. I got lost at King's Cross, where the women wear vests and not much else in the street of 1,000 knocks. I'd had a lot of frosties and my back teeth were swimming. The Salvation Band said, we're saving people. I said, well, save me a couple of women and she'll be right, mate. Oh, she'll be right, mate. My bloody oath, that stinking blue. It's your shout, I'll have a tube. Mind the flies and mind the crocs, the sharks and the spiders and the snakes. I'm going for a ground on the white telephone and she'll be all right, mate. They sent me to Darwin in the wet, like living in a navvy's boot. The women were bigger than a ramrod digger, made Dracula look like a poof. Cockroaches the size of dogs and beer like ostrich beak. And the women shout, Morris, do you want to sink your sausage as you walk down the street? Oh, she'll be right, mate. She'll be right, mate. My bloody oath, that stinking blue. It's your shout, I'll have a tube. Mind the flies and mind the crocs, the sharks and the spiders and the snakes. I'm going for a ground on the white telephone and she'll be all right, mate. Adelaide. It's hard to describe Adelaide. It's quiet, quiet. For a bit of excitement in Adelaide, they go and watch the floorboards warping in the local pub. Man, it's not as bad as Matlock, is it, eh? For excitement in Matlock, they go and watch the bacon slicer at the Co-op. Man, she's got a lovely bum, that lass. They sent me up to Adelaide, a sleepy little place where bugger all happened, then nothing much, then bugger all happened again. Then it went quiet for a bit, and then just for a change, sod all happened, then nothing much, then bugger all happened again. And they said, oh, she'll be right, mate. She'll be right, mate. My bloody oath, that stinking blue. It's your shout, I'll have a tube. Mind the flies and mind the crocs, the sharks and spiders and the snakes. I'm going for a ground on the white telephone and she'll be all right, mate. They sent me to the desert where there's lots of bugger all. The sand gets in your darky box, your family jewels and all. I was hotter than a sinner's body in hell, and I thought I couldn't hack it any longer. I was happy as a bishop with a boil on his bum. I was redder than a dingo's donger. And they said, she'll be right, mate. Ah, she'll be right, mate. My bloody oath, that stinking blue. It's your shout, I'll have a tube. Mind the flies and mind the crocs, the sharks and spiders and the snakes. I'm going for a ground on the white telephone and she'll be all right, mate. That stinking blue. This is a song I'm going to find it hard to describe. It was written by a bloke called Dave Goulder, and Dave was at one time, I think he was from Derby originally, and he was a one-time footplate man on British Rail. And then he went to live up in Scotland and wrote a lot of songs while he was up there about the countryside and about living in the country, from having been an industrial town lad. And this song's about the passing of the seasons and the changing of the seasons. It's a simple song, and it's one of those many songs that I've heard recently that I wish I'd written myself. It's just called The January Man. The January man, he walks abroad in woolen coat and boots of leather. The February man, he brushes snow from off his head and blows his hands. The man of March looks through the spring and wonders what each year will bring. And he hopes for better weather. Through April rains, the man goes down to watch the birds come in to share the summer. The man of May stands very still, watching the children dance away the day. While in June the man inside the man is young and wants to lend a hand and welcome each newcomer. Then in July, the man in cotton shirt, he sits and dreams of being idle. The August man in thousands takes the road to find the sun and see the sea. But September man is standing near to settle up and lead the year. And autumn is his bridal. And the new October man, he takes the reins, and early frost is on his shoulder. The poor November man sees mist and rain, and fire and frost, and winter's cold. While December man looks through the snow to let 11 brothers know that they're all a little older. Then the January man comes round again in woolen coat and boots of leather, to take another turn to walk along the icy road he knows so well. Oh, the January man is here for starting each and every year along the road forever.
Number 13 in the Interesting Characters of Britain series, a set of 9,043. Given 3 with ginseng tea. It don't work, I can tell you. Well, it only works 11 times. Interesting Characters of Britain, the ladies' man. Now, you've seen these ladies' men. You might need your memory jogging a bit, but you've all seen these ladies' men. What they call the wine bar cowboys or the Butlins Buccaneers. You know, you're in the wine bar there and in they come. Marvellous characters, right? He's got the shirt open down to his waist here and this big, huge chest wig bristling out of it. Right? He's got the gold ingot bar hanging on a piece of chain with expensive written on it, swinging around here. You know, he's got rings all over his fingers, like 4.5 ounces of gold on each hand, dragging along the floor. You know, he's got the skin-tight trousers. You can't buy trousers like those. You've got to be born in them. Skin-tight trousers, they're hugging him. So from behind, it looks like two rabbits in a poacher's bag, you know. And from the front, it looks as though he's going siphoning petrol on the way home. Yes, and he's got the hair done back in a big John Revolting sort of style, on a big TA at the back, really handsome, like sort of new romantic, and he sort of comes in the wine bar, and he's got the key ring, like, and he looks round, you know, and he's sort of got these brain cells in the back of his head which are just magic. They can just find a girl on her own in a room full of people. He'll sort it out. It's like magnetic. It sort of goes beep, 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 beep. And he goes over to this girl at the bar, and he's got this deep romantic voice that he's learnt by playing 78 records, you know, 78 RPM, playing them at 45, you know. And there's this girl on her own at the bar, and he goes up and he leans right in, right up to her, drops his key rings on the counter, he leans right in and looks at her, fixes her with his stare, with his eyes, really seductive sort of eyes, you know, like cuts in liver. And he leans over and he looks at her, and he leans down and he says, "Hi. What's a nice girl like you doing in a place like this?" "I'm with my friend Doreen." But he's not put off because she's the only one there. She's the only single one. Gee, that's great, you know. Where is Doreen? She's gone for a pee. She'll be back in a minute. Oh, gee, that's cool, you know, that's cool. Why don't I buy you a drink? Would you like a drink? Yeah, I'll have a drink. I'll have a pint of traffic lights. A pint of traffic lights? You don't know what traffic lights are? It's liqueurs, green, yellow and gold liqueurs, and you get the green, yellow, gold, and then the red, and you get green, yellow and red. It's like traffic lights, and you get a pint, and I drink it. Oh, okay, sure. You know, really smooth. He's got about 15 quid in his back pocket. He's going to be skint in one round. Hey, Pedro, mi amigo, hey, che passa, eh? All this chat. Che passa, eh? Sin problema, eh? Molto bene. He went for 14 days to Ibiza and never forgot it, you know. It's sort of Spanish, kraut, Italian garbage he's talking. So up comes Raphael, who's actually from Rottenstall. What you want, pal? Can I have a pint of traffic lights for the lady, please? And he looks at his pocket, a glass of ice water for myself. So he brings in this pint of traffic lights. This bird sinks it in one. He said, £7.5, pal. He pays 7.5 quid, like, he leans in, he thinks, I've got to pretend, like, you know, I've got to really work this one. So he leans right in again, and it's the eyes, the husky voice, deep, romantic, suggestive, vibrant. He says, tell me, what do you do for a living? I work in Dogs' Home, killing dogs. Oh. That's really great. You must meet a lot of interesting dogs. Look, you know, I mean, I came in this place tonight, you know, and I saw you, you know, and you saw me, and we looked at each other, and I saw you looking at me across the room, and you saw me looking at you, looking at me, looking at you across the room. And, you know what, just like you and I, you know, it's just like ships that pass in the night, you know, man. I mean, you know, when people meet each other like us, it's just like ships in the great ocean of tears, you know, and when two ships pass in the night, maybe one ship should say hello to another ship, you know, or maybe these ships could get together. Are you a sailor? No, it's just a sort of figure of speech. Look, haven't we met somewhere before, you know? I mean, you know, was it Ibiza or San Malo or San Monaco or, you know, Bermuda, or was it LA? You know, I mean, your face is really familiar. You know, maybe it was Benidorm, somewhere like that. No, we go to Cleethorpes every year, me and Doreen. Have a great time at Cleethorpes. We went last year, we caught crabs off the pier. And he steps back a bit then, you know. And she's down this pint in one, and she puts it down, she says, you gonna buy me another pint of traffic lights, or what? He said, well, look... He said, it'd make you drunk, wouldn't it? She said, who you calling, wouldn't it, fat mouth? And he's... Let me explain. Are you listening? He's blown it. He's blown the gig completely, but he can't give up. Because this sort of guy can never stop. He's got to score all the time. And when I was a kid in Manchester, we had this fella live next door to us who was exactly the same, but I was a kid of 4. And my gran used to say, when he got up and went out, like every night, she'd say, there he goes, all mouth and trousers. There he is again. Oh, he's a right ladies' man, he is. He'd have a frog if it'd stop hopping. Look at this. Oh. Eh? Oh. And I'm always fascinated by these characters, you know, and so I've written this song, and it's about a ladies' man, about one of these ladies' men, and it's about a ladies' man who comes to a very sticky end. Not like that, no. It's a mucky lot. He was a ladies' man, wah, wah, a real Don Juan, wah, wah. Round all the dance halls and all of the discos, all of the bar rooms and all of the bistros, with wives and sweethearts, sisters and widows, and even the occasional gran. From 9 to 5, wah, wah, to keep himself alive, wah, wah. He worked in the co-op slicing bacon, sending the ladies home hearts aching, with nostrils flaring and pupils dilating at the way he packed their pork. There's nothing rude about that, don't laugh about it. With his brill-creamed hair, mohair suit, cigarette holder and brown suede shoes, like the fox that got into a chicken coop. He was a ladies' man. He was a married man. Wah, wah, this deceitful Don Juan. Wah, wah. While his wife got ready for the Weight Watchers Club, he told her he was going playing darts down the pub, kept his Don Juan suit in a wooden tub, and got changed in the garden shed. 7 nights a week, wah, wah, this Salford chic, wah, wah. Oiled his toupee and trimmed his tash, pressed his suit till it looked dead flash, and since he was going off out on the mash, made sure he got his packet of 4. With his brill-creamed hair, 1 jump ahead, mohair suit, cigarette holder and brown suede shoes, like the fox that got into the chicken coop. He was a ladies' man at the Tropicana, wah, wah. He met a lass called Anna, wah, wah. With his billiard chalk stuck behind his ear, he fixed his face in a seductive leer, bought her a bag of scratchings, a half a beer, some crisps and a pickled egg. Smoothie. All through the night, wah, wah, he held her tight, wah, wah. Talked of love and her beautiful eyes, said they'd dance in the park neath the starry skies, and with breathy kisses and tender sighs, they went to get a donkey jacket. With his brill-creamed hair, mohair suit, cigarette holder and brown suede shoes, like the fox that got into the chicken coop. He once was a ladies' man in the Corporation Park, wah, wah, near the Bull's Hut in the dark, wah, wah. He tickled her knees and squeezed her lips, moved along her arms to her fingertips, and nibbled her thighs and squeezed her hips, and reached for his packet of 4. He undid her dress, wah, wah, slid his hand inside her vest, wah, wah. But what he found was
was a real shocker, cause instead of a soft, well, pair of knockers was the hairy chest of a very gay docker who'd shaved just an hour before.
Yeah, real green hair, mohair suit,
Cigarette holder and brown suede shoes, like the fox that got into the chicken coop. He was a ladies' man. He turned and ran, wah, wah, this confused man, rah, rah. But before he could reach the pitch and putt, he was grabbed at the back of the parky's hut, and without benefit of clergy or anything but, became a man's man as well. Now, this a ladies' man, wah, wah, one time Don Juan, wah, wah, stays in by the fireside every night, away from the dance halls and bright city lights, and strange ladies with hair curling out through their tights, and a bad case of barber's rash. No more blue-creamed hair, no more mohair suit, no more cigarette holder, no more brown suede shoes, like the fox that met a bulldog in the chicken's coop. He once was a ladies' man, Vodio, yeah. Someone just rolled down my leg, hope it's sweat. This is I'd like to do a quiet song for you now. And this is, well, I think it's a very beautiful song. I didn't write it. It was written by a bloke called Ewan McCall, who came from Scotland when he was a young lad and lived in Salford most of his life. And some of you might know Ewan McCall as being the founder of Theatre Workshop with Joan Littlewood, and it was such wonderful productions as Oh What a Lovely War, Taste of Honey and things like that. And Ewan was also a folk singer and a fine songwriter, and unfortunately I think not a well enough known songwriter. He written some beautiful songs like The Shoals of Herring, and this is another one of the beautiful songs. It's about Salford, in case anybody doesn't know what Salford is or where Salford is. Salford is a picturesque spa fishing village just next to Manchester, and it's been knocked about a lot, like a lot of towns, and smashed up, and the planners have come in and redesigned it. Thanks very much, planners. And where do the planners live? Bloody Cheshire. Mind you, the bloke who redesigned Salford apparently was savaged to death by his guide dog last month. It's true. There's now a whacking great motorway goes right through it up towards Pendleton to join the sort of M62, you know, and link up with that anyway. And apparently, you know, this happened a couple of months back. You know, it's murder to cross this thing. There's sort of 8 lines of traffic all going past each other, flying past, you know, to oblivion. And a bloke's on one side of the street and he's trying to cross and he just couldn't manage it. And he saw a bloke on the other side. He said, "How'd you get over there?" He said, "I was born here." You know how we end up with all these new town developments, though? You know how we end up with all these? You know, before councillors can get elected, you know, into the town hall, they have to sign a written agreement to say that they'll have their brains taken out, you know. And when they get there in the town hall, ready to inflict untold damage on our cities and the people, they get there in the town hall, and they all get around this table, and they say, now us have been elected, what shall us do? And one of the bright sparks at the bottom says, "I know. Let's knock bloody town down." And another 11 of them, who just happen to be builders, say, "What a smart idea." Smart. And you come and knock it down and redesign your lives entirely. Well, this song's about Salford as it was, and to an extent as it is. It's a simple song, I think a nice one and a beautiful song too. It's called Dirty Old Town. met my girl by the gasworks croft, and I dreamed a dream by the old canal, and I kissed my love by the factory wall. You dirty old town, you're a dirty old town. The clouds are drifting out across the night. Cats are prowling out upon their beat. Spring's a girl on the streets at night. You dirty old town, dirty old town. I heard a siren sound from off the docks, and I saw a train set the night on fire, and I smelt the sea on a sulphurous wind. You dirty old town, dirty old town. I'm gonna get me a good sharp axe, shining steel, tempered in the fire. I'm gonna chop you down like an old oak tree. You dirty old town, dirty old town. Met my girl by the gasworks croft, dreamed a dream by the old canal, and I kissed my love by the factory wall. You dirty old town, dirty old town. You dirty old town, you're a dirty old town. Thank you. Time now for a poem. I've had a lot of requests not to do this poem, but bugger it. I'm reading it from the book because I get mental blocks in my head. Poem about a funeral, and I'm not going to say very much about it because I think you're intelligent here and at home. So I'll leave. It's one of these deep, meaningful things. I was going to do some of Dylan Thomas's stuff tonight, but he never does none of mine, so... Bugger him. Aykroyd's Funeral, a poem in words and erotic movements by me. It was dark as a coal old picnic on the day Grandad Aykroyd dropped dead. Work was scarce as rocking horse droppings. Not a church roof for miles with lead. So cold that the flame on the candle got frozen one Wednesday night, and we had to warm it up in the oven before we could get it to light. Some brass monkeys outside sung carol soprano. You could hear them cursing and swearing. As they wandered round lost in the cold and the frost, they couldn't find their bearings. On Sunday, our chicken for dinner was a pigeon from off next door's loft. And my dad pumped it up with his bike pump too hard, and our Sunday dinner buggered off. What would you like to eat now, Dad? Said our mum, picking her nose. Hard-boiled eggs, our dad said. You can't get your fingers in those. We couldn't afford to kill the chicken, so we boiled some water up hot, and with bunches of dried peas tied to its knees, it paddled about on the top. Me granddad had mortgaged his pension till 1994, while me gran in her vest was outside doing her best with a red light above coal shed door. I can't stand no more, the old man cried. A mad light shone in his glass eye. We'll have to defraud the insurance man. Hands up. Want to volunteer to die? Well, my mum said she would have, but she was too busy. Our Albert said his library book was due back. Gran said she would, but her and her mates had got tickets for last Saturday's match. So we drew straws to settle the matter, but there was never no doubt, because me dad cut me granddad's in half with bread knife just as he was pulling it out. I'm too old to die, he said, using the cat as a club to belabour me, Dad. All right, said Dad, you don't have to die. Just lie down and pretend as you are. So me granddad lay down on the hearthrug, and we called the doctor in. Me gran took out a bottle and some glasses and got him smashed on a dandelion gin. He said, your granddad has died of a very rare disease, a bad case of tropical frostbite. Then he staggered off out, and we all heard a shout from the street because he slipped in some dog shite. Sorry about that, but there isn't a lot rhymes with frostbite, you know what I mean? Not that you can slip in anyway, you know. Our Billy ran round for the man from the Prue. Gran filled him with dandelion gin. He paid £4.10 in used chip shop yen and said, when are you burying him? Oh, we weren't thinking of burying him, Grandma said. I was thinking of having him stuffed myself. Or embalming him in that plastic raft and keeping him up mantel shelf. Nay, yon is illegal, said the man from the Prue. Your granddad will have to be buried in a box and shroud in constipated ground. At this, Grandad looked a bit worried. Man from the Prue said he'd come to the burying and see as how things was done quite right. Then he staggered off out, and we all heard a shout from the street because he slipped on some more of that stuff what I was telling you about. I've just done that, said the doctor, so the insurance man rubbed his nose in it. So, the pretend corpse now had to be buried. Me dad got an old kipper crate. When the holes we had plugged in the wood, it looked good. With plastic brass handles on, great. The only bit that rhymes hardly gets a bloody titter. We'll only bury you just till he's gone. Then we'll dig you up, honest, Dad said. Took a bottle of gin before Grandad give in and lay in the box to play dead. Me Gran looked in the box, saying, what a lovely corpse. Tears fell on a dripping and toast, till the body at rest shoved his hand up a vest, saying, now then, how's that for a ghost? So, we put the box on Big Mabel's coal cart. And off to its cemetery we set. We followed on bikes, and all went quite right, till another burying we met. A policeman was stood on point duty, because there was a fault in the traffic lights. But he fell to the ground with his arms flailing round because he slipped in another load of that stuff. What's all that? We just did that, said the doctor and the insurance man, said the policeman. Look. As the copper hit the ground, the traffic flew round, and the two buryings got in a jam. Their driver took a poke at me dad with a wrench and got a kick in the shoemakers off me mum. When we sorted it out, we'd got the wrong box. Grandma said, we won't see no more of him. When their driver come round, our burying we found had gone to the crematorium. By the time that we got there, the service was done. You could hear the organ play as the congregation wet hankies and sniffed, and our kipper box went on its way. The shutters were open, we all heard the flames, and suddenly my granddad gave a yell, and a coffin with legs in its arse end on fire ran out on the conveyor belt. Over the pews and out through the window, the burning kipper box ran, and we all cheered our crate as it swam through the lake, chased by me dad and me mum. A blessed miracle, said me gran, but the man from the brew went quite white. Ruined he rode. He would have said more, but he slipped in the road and another road of that stuff. Thank you. Well, we'll see if that gets out or not, won't we? Enough. Night after night I've been coming out on here, walking out of that stupid hole in the wall, which we all know leads into a dirty street in Buxton. Walking out of there onto this stage and people clapping and people at home watching with the tea on the lap saying, yeah, better have been told to clap them, look. I'm fed up of coming out of there. I'm coming on again. Wait. That's it. Well, I don't care. It's spontaneous, this show. Yes, I think I'll start by playing me nose. A lot of people don't know that. Hello, we got somebody woke up, have they? Are you all right? Don't sit there playing with yourself. Get a manager. Unexpected laugh. Always check your flies. But a dead bird never falls out of the nest, so that's all right. Yes. A lot of people don't know this, but you can't actually play your nose. Now, I don't know, you people at home don't know this, but most men, and I include myself in that description, vague as it may be, have hairs up their noses. And if you actually get hold of an hair up your nose and actually sort of pull it down, you can do this. You just get hold of the hair. No, don't do it yet. You get hold of the hair. And you pull it down, and if you trap it in your two front teeth here, you can play a tune on it. Honestly, God, listen. Sunrise, come in the morning, sunrise. You know, you can do it. Try it on your way home. Just a bit of rubbish, thought it'd help you. So, song now. How to describe this song? Saturday nights. Song's got nothing to do with Saturday nights, but I'll start off by... Right. Every Saturday night we used to go to a dance hall. Me and my mate Pete Gittins used to go to this dance hall called Chilton's in Cheetham Hill Road, which is where I learnt this next song. Now, Chilton's is very hard to describe. We used to go there. They now have a grab a granny night on a Wednesday, which is worth a look at. But we used to go, and it was those days when, like, you know, you sort of got the big DA at the back and £4 of Brilliantine all pulled back, you know, and you could sort of sneering at yourself in the mirror, practising sneering, you know, because I used to think I looked handsome, you know. I used to think that without my glasses on, I used to look like Billy Fury, you know. So I used to take my glasses off, put them in my pocket, and I used to go up to the mirror and just get this lip here, and I used to stick a marble in my lip. So I could get a proper sneer, and I'd go, uh-huh. Like Billy Fury, and then I used to walk down the street bumping into lampposts. And people used to say, is that Billy Fury choking on a marble in the road, as you know? It's Mike Hardy with no glasses on. Then you get to the dance hall, and, like, you know, you'd press your suit under the bed. You know, you used to press your suit under the bed in them days. And you get to the dance hall, and it was the days of the first fluorescent blue tubes, you know, those UVA tubes, like, and you get in, and as soon as the tube went on, you'd see all the fluff on your jacket and your trousers. Italian suits dead smart with the 3 buttons up here and slit up here and the narrow lapels and the cardboard hanky sticking out here and the matching tie from Woolies. And you're off there, you were king for the night, you know, chip fat on the air and in there. The light goes on, you look like you come through a snowdrift on the way. And the girls were great. The girls were great, paper nylon underskirts on, eh? Hundreds of paper nylon underskirts, pound of sugar in the bath, trampling on them, getting them hard, then you put them on. These paper nylon underskirts, it's a shame they don't have them now, because they were an early warning system, you know. Because you'd be in the pictures in your dark, and you'd have one arm round here, trying to get it round the front, and you might even cop a bit of strap, you know. And then the right hand would go up, right? And all the static on the underskirts, there'd be blue flashes going off all of a sudden. Projectionist kicking the projector. It's gone off again, there's flashes, aren't there? It's all the hands, eh? Oh, and then bras with all the circles stitched round them. You touch them, they go in like a dinner bowl, you know. They go... Oh. And there were the stockings and suspenders. I've heard that they've come back now. People have started wearing them again. No, them stockings, they were great, them stockings and suspenders. The cool bit at the top. And the thick bit at the top of the stocking, eh? The giggle band. Get past that, you're laughing. And there we all are. There's me, 17 years old, you know, lumps all everywhere and insecure, you know, trying to see if you'd got bad breath. Do you remember that? You clean your teeth about 11 times. Still, you got your hand over your mouth, blowing up your nose. And off you go dancing. Are you dancing? Are you asking? I'm asking. All right, I'm dancing. And me and my mate Gitz used to go. Now, you don't know Pete Gitz, but I'll tell you about it. Handsome, good-looking lad, always black hair, really good-looking fella. Right from when he was little, you know, when he was little, he was good-looking, you know. And there's me, like glasses, spots, ugly, everything. Just, you know, lurching behind him, like, you know. Now, we used to go to this dance hall. And the thing is about women, there's only a couple of things I've noticed about ladies. And I've got to say, by the way, that I'm a feminist, and I'm sort of all for women's rights and everything, but in those days, it was very sort of a male-dominated world, or so we thought, but women had us all around their little fingers, you know, all the handbags in the middle of the floor, all dancing together. You had to circle them like a pack of wolves and try and pick one off, you know. Go on then, go on, have a go. All right, I'll have a go in. But the only thing I've noticed about girls, or noticed in those days in the dance hall, was that there's... Well, the first thing was, if one of them went for a wee, they all went. They never went to one. She'd get up there, she'd get her handbag over her arm and say, I'm going now, are you coming? They'd all go off together, 12 of them. For years, it mystified me. Then I asked a mate of mine who's a plumber, and he told me, the seats are very high, they've got to lift each other on and off in there. Give us a shout when you want to leg down, won't you? But
And the other thing that fascinated me is that when you got two women dancing together in a dance hall, you always had a nice one and a tug. You did, it's true. Two women went out together in them days. I don't know if it's true nowadays, but there was always a nice one and a tug. Because the nice one knew she'd got no competition from the tug, and the tug thought she'd pick up what dropped off. It's right. I went out with so many tugs they called me Queen Mary down our street. We get up, me and Gitz. Gitz gets the belter. He gets a cracker. Oh, she's gorgeous, right? He's dancing away with this Sophia Loren bird-like, and there's me with all the fluff all over everything, shaved round it, everything. Got the cardboard hanky, the bootlace, the works. Get up there, I'm dancing with this thing. God help the lass. I mean, I'm dancing with it. You know, all it wanted was the valves. It was a boiler. You know what I mean? She's so big, I'm actually stood on her steel toe-cap wellies while she's taking me that. I thought there's no point in being subtle about this. Straight to the bar. I said, "Did you drop them?" She said, "Not usually, but you talked me into it." And I took her home that night, you know. I had to pay double for her on the bus, you know. 2 seats. She said she's taken up 2 seats, she paid twice. So I paid for it twice. Hey, but the donkey jacket put me off a bit, like, you know, but at least she'd painted her wellies gold. I thought this, you know, she got some finesse. She took me back to this place. I found it hard to describe, really. It was Smedley Flats. They've knocked them down now to make way for another slum. Smedley Flats used to live at Smedley Flats, which was called the Queen Elizabeth Flats, like, because it was a big, huge, it looked like a boat, you know. And we got off the bus, like, walked down Queen's Road to these flats now. We get there, and it's snowing, right? It starts snowing, middle of winter, like, you know, the old days you walk everywhere, you know, and bus everywhere. No cars are out like that. Get there, get at the foot of this place, like, the Smedley Flats is all like dead dogs and prams and old bits outside it, you know. A bit like Bramhall, really, you know. And we get there, and she says, "You can come in for a coffee." I thought, oh, great, you're in here, Harding, you know. 17, all mouth and trousers, you know what I mean? Oh, here's me head, my bum's coming, you know. Straight in there in this flat, like. And everywhere there was the smell of boiling cabbage, ribs and cabbage, you know. Got the ribs and cabbage boiling away, like, you know. No, I love ribs and cabbage, me, like, love it to death. Favourite food of all time. Get in the kitchen there, right? She said, "Be quiet, my dad's in the front room." Like, "Don't make a noise, my dad's in the front room." Okay, fair enough. So we get in there. Now, I've been reading this book. You know, you've heard of The Perfume Garden, haven't you? You know, right? And we've got this book, like, round our way called The Not Bad Allotment. It's a sort of working class version of The Perfume Garden. So I've been reading it, and it said the first thing to do if you want to get a woman going, like, is like blow in her ear. Apparently, I don't know. Don't try it here. You know, a couple of hours to go yet. Pack it in. Blow in her ear. So I get stood on a chair, like, at the side. She's leaning up against the stove, like, you know. And we've got these big buckets full of coffee each, you know. And she stood leaning against the stove, and I climbed on this chair, right? Now picture this. I'm stood on the chair. She's 8'2" in her stocking feet, like. Stood. And I got right close into her head, and I thought, this is it, like, you know, like I've read on these books, like, you're supposed to sort of blow, and it sort of drives them balmy, apparently. So I got my mouth right up, and I went... There's a big pink bubble coming out the other side, like. And she's just carrying on, you know. Chewing gum, and I thought, this isn't work, like. I'm getting dizzy and holding on to the gas stove. And number 2 was, like, you start by tickling the back of the neck and then work your arm down the spine, like, you know, so I'm giving it all this, like, you know. I thought, go for the Joker, don't mess about, you know. So it, woomph, and straight in the ribs and cabbage. Ah! I'm hopping around the kitchen with 8 fingers, I don't know which is mine.
A dad come in. He said, is she bothering you? Smash, right on her nose. Boom. I said, no, she just brought me over again. He said, leave him alone. Get home while you're still in one piece, son. She'd done this before, I have to bury him outside. Go on. Go on, get to bed. And she goes off to bed. I got thrown out. She said, go on your bike, go on home. I said, no, you're on your bike. Threw me out. I went down the stairs that night, I thought, I'm not having this. Thrown out. Not having it. One of the team, I am. One of the lads. Crumpsville kamikaze lot. Can't be having all this. So I went off that night, and there. It had snowed all the time we were in the house, and it had smoothed out all these milk crates and dead dogs and old bits and that. And this big, huge expanse of white. I thought, right, I'm going to whittle in the snow. I'm going to write my name in the snow. In whittle, and I did. And I'm there, writing it, M-I-C-H, dotting the I's, you know. Always dot the I's, teacher told me. And I didn't know, but her dad was looking out the window and he says, Mother, you come along with this. She said, what? He said, this fella out here has brought home. He's whittling the snow and written his name. She said, well, lads will be lads, you know what they're like. He said, yeah, but this is Alvira's handwriting. It's all sloping back. There was one sort of area we used to go when I was a kid, and it was a sort of meeting place for everybody, and there was an old gas lamp just about 4 doors down from me. And I wrote a song about it. It sounds a strange thing to do, write a song about a gas lamp, but honestly, we always used to meet there because there was two in the street, one right down the bottom and one at our top end. We lived next door to the corner shop. Big gas lamp, and all the kids used to meet there, and we used to play games, rally-vo, kick can, black and white rabbit, Tiggy off the ground, all the bits, you know, and we used to get... it had the old one with the arms out, you know, and you could climb up on it and light your fags off the mantle and things, you know. And then we used to tie swings on it and a rope and run round it and then kick your legs out and sort of go round and round until the string wound itself round the lamppost and you ended up with your head smashed in. Good old games, you know. And then they replaced it by one of these big concrete ones, you know. Now, the thing is, they put this 48-foot concrete lamppost in our street, the sort you see on motorways, you know. Now, the trouble is, our houses are only 18 foot high. The street was pitch black, but we got the best lit roofs you've ever seen in Manchester, you know. The sparrows walking around with dark glasses on seem too much for me. Too much for me. So the old thing went, and I suppose really, in a way, this is... Any intellectuals who happen to be watching tonight will recognise that this is what you would call a sentimental song. And I don't think there's anything wrong with sentiment in the right place. And it's a sentimental song in a way about the old kids and the gang and all the lot of us who used to meet. Down round this old gas lamp. And if you're looking for any deep meaning in it, there isn't one. It's called the Old Green Iron Lamp. Corner of a street, there was an old gas lamp. And those kids used to meet there every night. We'd swing from its old bars and we'd play hide and seek in the shadows just beyond its yellow light. And it must have seen some meetings and some changes through the years. I know it's seen some laughter, and I know it's seen some tears. But time travels on, and our old gang is gone. They've met beneath that old green iron lamp. All the kids from our street gang, we meet each night swap comics, tell a tale or fool around. We talk about the things that we would be when we grew up. As the lights from that old lamp spilled on the ground. And it must have seen some meetings and some changes through the years. I know it's seen some laughter, and I know it's seen some tears. But time travels on, and our old gang is gone, that met beneath that old green iron lamp. I wonder where they are, the kids in our old gang, now that all the years have come between. We've changed and we've all traveled now, and that old green lamp is gone. Nothing's gonna be the same again. And it must have seen some meetings and some changes through the years. I know it's seen some laughter, and I know it's seen some tears. But time travels on, and our old gang is gone, that met beneath that old green iron lamp. If I could bring those old days back, I wouldn't even try. There were days when we knew sadness and knew pain. But I know I'd give a lot if I could bring back that old gang. Meet them underneath that lamp again. And it must have seen some meetings and some changes through the years. I know it's seen some laughter, and I know it's seen some tears. But time travels on, and our old gang is gone, that met beneath that old green iron lamp. That met beneath that old green iron lamp. After we finished here tonight in this Mongolian Christmas cake, me and the lads, when I say lads, I mean the rough lads on the cameras, the boiler-suited workers, like, and the great unwashed. When we finished here tonight, the lighting techs and everything, and the roadies, my roadie Dave and Steve, we're going to a party afterwards, after the show, because we get invited to loads of parties, like when we're touring around the country, and we're very careful what ones we go to now, because we used to go, years ago, we used to go to a lot of posh parties, because you used to get people coming up to you, and they'd say things like, at the end of the show, you'd be just going home, like, and somebody come, big tall bloke, like the roly-poly outside, would come up and say, rather enjoy the show this evening, rather enjoy the show. Super show. Tell me, tell me. I suppose you do this full-time, do you? Do this full-time? Or do you do this, is this a proper job? Is it a proper job? Or do you have another real job? Do you have a real job? I said, well, I got a real job, yes, I got a real job. I'm a test pilot for Draft Guinness. Yeah, oh, super, good, yes. Oh, terrific. Well, terrific. Anyway, what it is, old chap, what it is, really, we're having a bit of a knees up. What? Huh? Bit of a knees up, bit of an old, shindig. I'm back at the old, the old place, right? So if you could find a way to bring in, coming along. And we'd love to have you there. And some people, you know, have a bit of a, you know, sort of drinky poos and, you know, a bit of a wad and cup of Rosie Lee and whatever else you like, you know, and sort of, you know, just chat and meet people generally, relax, you know, have a good time. I said, well, thank you very much. And he said you could even bring the rough chaps, you know, them scruffy lads who come round with you. So I said, well, thank you very much. Like, so we go. I mean, we used to go. We don't go anymore. But what a mistake. I mean, what a mistake. So you go to places, really posh places. I'm talking about, like Glossop, you know, posh places like that. There it is, Glossop. No. No. Glossop's posh. Just. Yeah. Just. So we go off to places like Glossop or Bramall, you know. And we go along. Bramall's posh. Of course it's posh. They get out of the bath to have a pee in Bramall. They must be posh. They do. They don't stand up and aim it. They get out. No, they get out. So we'd get invited and we'd go back. And you knew it was a mistake. Let me explain. You'd know it was a mistake right away because you'd get to this area that the address was on, you know, and they sort of drew a bit of a map. And you knew it was wrong because there were more trees than people. You never seen houses like it. Like, you know, they used to look like institutes or homes. I couldn't believe that people lived in them. All them bedrooms, what do they do? They must sleep in a different one every day of the year. Huge, I thought they were orphanages. You know, you can't imagine houses this size. And you go up this long path, like, and get to the door, and you'd press the bell, and from miles away inside the house, this thing would go, ding, dong. And then there'd be a bit of shuffling, and chains would go, and the door would open, and the hostess, who you'd not met yet, would be there. Stood there. And she's got the evening gown on, cut down to here, the bingo dress, eyes down looking, you know, and you're there. And she's run the last 100 yards to the door, so it's poking out a bit, and you stood there saying, if you're selling them pups, I'll have the one with the pink nose. You know, no. And all they used to do, they used to just say, oh, how quaint. You can't upset them. You can't upset these upper crust. Oh, you try it. No, they just say, oh, how quaint. Do come in. You're Michael, are you? You're Michael. Very pleased to meet you, Michael. Do come in. Do come in. And you go in and sink into the carpet. You're struggling like this, like, you know. And the roadies are not used to it. They're trying to steal bits and take it home. You shake hands, she said, do come in, meet lots and lots of interesting people, lots and lots, you're going to have a really super time, leave your coats there, you know, and you hang your coats up, and like, we've got like really rough jackets and that, and the sort of, the jackets themselves are pinching things out of other people's pockets, they're just... And they open this double door, and inside this room, there's 200 people, and all I can describe them is, let me put my guitar on, drinking ducks. Do you know what I mean? Have you seen these things you can buy from joke shops? The bird that dips in the cup of water and then goes out again like that, right? Because the people, they've got a paper plate in one hand with food all over it and a glass in the other, so they can't shake hands or wave at anybody. They're all going, hello, Jeremy, how are you? Yes, how are you? Wonderful to see you. Hello. The whole room. Hello, how are you? Yeah. They're all giving it that. And you walk in, right, and you think, oh, no. And you walk straight. She said, do come and meet, you'll meet some nice people here. Do come in, Michael. Rough boys, you look after yourselves. And she drags me over, like, towards the drink. I used to drink a lot, like, you know, just to forget. Occasionally I couldn't remember what I was trying to forget, you know. But so we go over there. She'd say, would you like a drink? Yeah, I'll have a bottle of brandy, please. Oh, how quaint. Anything in it? Yeah, I'll have another bottle of brandy. So she goes in, 2 bottles of brandy, and there's no glass big enough, so you get the goldfish bowl, tip the goldfish in the trifle, all the brandy in it, and stood there ready for anything. Right, this is it. Right, drinking away, and up comes King and Queen Nightmare. Roggers and Juju. The hostess comes along and says, Roggers, Juju, do come on and meet Mick. This is Mick Mick. Where did he get these names from? Roggers, Juju, Mick Mick. I said, hello, pleased to meet you. How are you? All right? Yes, all right, right. Jobs are good. Hey, plenty of scran, you know what I mean? Plenty of grub. Eh? Plenty of booze. Be all right here, kid, won't we, eh? Yes, rather. Super, yes. I'm drinking with this fella. I've never seen anything like it. All he can talk about is cars. He's talking about his car. There's only 2 things I know about cars. Nothing and bugger all. And I'm drinking. I'm saying, goodbye, brain cells, I must leave. He's saying, I've got a 1948 twin-eyed, frog-eyed Sprite, twin overhead cams and 45 PQ1 aerial sift, and they've got twin overhead sumps and camshaft deliberators, and I can't understand a word he's saying. He's in chain drive intermission faults scanning, and you know, he's going on and on. He said, but trouble is, took Juju out for a ride the other morning, you know, took Juju out, and then he starts talking about the car, and I don't know whether he's talking about the car or his missus. I'm lost. Because I've had a bit of this, haven't I, you know. And he said, took her out for a ride the other morning, took the old dear out. He said, and I've had a lot of trouble getting her started, you know, on these cold mornings. He said, I've tried everything, you know, tickling up the points, he said. Anyway, a friend of mine told me, he said, the points may be a bit rusty, so I got some surgical spirits, a couple of cotton buds, gave it that. He said, slip one in the box, and away we went. And they don't know it, so I'm really walloping it down then. And I thought, I don't want to get too drunk too quick, like, you see. So I thought the best thing to do is eat. Now, the one thing you must... If you ever get invited to these posh parties, if you ever... Don't eat. The one thing you must do is don't eat. They're used to it. They're used to it. All these people who've got Claridges and Harrods, and they're used to all that, and Sainsbury's. I'm not used to all this rich stuff. You know. They've moved in up here, haven't they? Eh? We're going to send the UCP down there, don't worry. Wait till they get some of that tripe, eh? Dressed down there. They won't know what's it, and they'll be wearing it on the feet. They won't know what it's for. But we're there on this posh party, and the food. The table's groaning with it. They've got everything there. You can't eat the food that they've got there, though. It's not for us. They've got ball bearings on toast. Hundreds of tiny little black ball bearings on toast. There's some kid on roller skates going... I'm not eating them. They're my own teeth, these. I don't want to ruin them. And they've got these things, what the anchovies, and they look neck end of sardine. Somebody's got a kipper and a pencil sharpener and giving it that. You've not got a good mouthful in them. You've got to get a big bag of them, and that's it. And they've got these things, vol au vent, you can't eat. They look like you're just eating them. You can't eat them. No, thanks. I'm all right. I'll leave them out. And cheese, they've got cheese there. You can't eat that stuff. It's like people's feet. I mean, it's growling on the table. It's lurking there going... Ooh. Somebody cuts it open, 6 people... I'm stood next to this woman. Somebody cut her cheese open. I didn't know what it was. I'm going... She's very posh, black, and the pearls and every bombazine and all the bit, and the big up bouffant hair. I'm stood there eating a sarnie, like, you know, lettuce and celery, and I'm just eating it, and I looked at her and... I said, have you just dropped one or what? And she said, no, I said, it's not me, somebody around here. You can't eat stuff like that. So I'm eating a bit and drinking a bit, and then I think I must have had a bit too much, because you know you get that feeling when you stood there, and all of a sudden the room starts moving on its own. It's going up and down, you know, and you know the green Korean lady over the mantelpiece? She's winking at you, you know, and... Jig jigger Johnny, eh? And the 3 plaster ducks on the wall have all flown up each other's jackses. And you stood there thinking, I'll be all right, I'm okay. Oh, it's just hiccups, I'm going to be okay, I'm okay. Please, God, I'm all right. No, I'm not going to be sick, I'm all right. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, all right. Yes, I'm all right, I'm going to be sick. I'm not going to... What? Excuse me. And this big head comes out of the sky. Big head comes out of this cloud and goes, are you all right? And you look at me and go, yes. Yeah, could you tell me where the little boy's room is, please? I beg your pardon. The little boy's room. Are you queer or something? What's the matter with you? No, I mean, you know, I want to... Can I have a bath, please? Where the bathroom is? I'd like a bath. Tell me where the bathroom is. Up the stairs, you cuckoo. So you run straight, boom, hit the bottom stair. As soon as you hit the bottom stair, all the stair rods fly up in the air. Wham! You've got a crest to run to go up, all in carpet like that. And you're trying to climb up this. You get up 3, roll back again, up 3, roll back again. You finally make the landing, collapse, balumph, on the deck, lying there with your nose 1/8 of an inch from the carpet, and you're staring at this pile, you're going, hello, carpet. Oh, what a lovely carpet you are, carpet. You're nice and friendly, it's warm here, carpet. I'm gonna stay here forever and ever, carpet. I love you, because you're not like them stupid people downstairs. You're lovely. I love you, carpet, like I never love you. I'm gonna stay here forever and ever and ever. No, I'm not. Excuse me, carpet. And you kick open the bathroom door, and there's an old lady sat there with the trolleys around her ankles going, "Ah!" She says, "Excuse me, I'm sorry, the house is on fire. Quick out." She runs downstairs with the knickers around her ankles. People drink. I say, "Is that your mother?" "Once." And you run in, lock the door, and it all goes off. You know what I'm talking about. Every village in Wales. Clongherry, go, 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 go. Aberystwyth, Clongherry, go, go, go. Oh, and then you start yodeling. Yodel, 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 yodel. Oh, please, God, don't make me yodel anymore. Yodel, yodel, yodel. Oh, God, don't do it. Yodel, 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 yodel. Oh, God, I'll go to church every Sunday. Yodel, yodel. Oh, it was fun the first time. Don't make yodel, yodel. Oh, and you look down, and there's always carrots. Always. I was the first to point this out 8 years ago. Always. You may never have eaten carrots in your life, but there they are. You may have lived in an island devoid of carrots. Where did they come from? I think they live down the plug hole. And as soon as they hear you being sick, they say, "Come on, Fred, somebody being sick up here. Get me shoulder. Get me." But it doesn't matter where they come from. Once they're there, they won't go down. They will not. You've got the taps on. You're giving it. Oh. Oh. And then you fall asleep for a bit with your head in the sink. Oh. Then you wake up again, "I'm all right. Oh, I'm all right. I just have a drink of aftershave. Oh. Oh, I'm all right now. I'm all right now. I'm okay. Can I be okay?" So you eat a cotton bud. "I'm all right now. I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. Okay. I'm all right now. I'm all right." And this knitted poodle full of toilet rolls on the end of the window says, "No, you're not." "Yeah, I am. Yeah. No, you're not. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm all right." And everything's laughing at you. The walls are laughing. You get to the door, you just get your hand on the door, and it's the one you forgot about. The one deep down inside the recesses of you. The big one, the big... You run back. "Krakatoa!" Oh, what are them underpants doing in the sink? Just a minute, they're mine. What? Oh. And you stagger downstairs to the party, and they're still there. "Hello, Jeremy, how are you?" And you walk, you're a foot off the ground, you're walking, floating. There's people saying, "Who's that grey-looking chap with hot and cold tattooed on his forehead over there?" And you float through, out into the garden. You think, "Oh, a bit of fresh air, be all right, bit of fresh air." And you're out in the fresh air, you go... And the fellow comes out, he says, "I see the daffodils are coming up." "Not them as well, I've just had carrots, I've had not daffodils. I've had carrots, but no daffodils." And he leans over, and it's the original one, the touching the points up, Johnny, isn't it? And he leans down, he says, I met you before inside, didn't I?" "I smuggled over, yes." "Tell me, what's your name? I didn't catch it." "Smagadim." "I beg your pardon?" "Smagladim." "Smagladim? Is it Urdu or something? Is it Smagladin? I've never heard a name like this. Smagladin?" "No, Smaggle. Adim. Smaggle. Oh, well, hello, Smaggle. What's your surname?" "Harding." "Harding? Oh, I knew some Hardings once. I knew some Hardings down in Kent. You're not one of the Sidcup Hardings, are you?" "No, I'm one of the pistol Hardings, me." "Et maintenant, mesdames et messieurs, le moment est arrivé que vous attendez avec le breath bated, n'est-ce pas? Parce que je vais donner vous beaucoup de logol avec le GBH de Euro, avec le rock and roll music sur l'électric guitar aujourd'hui, this night, n'est-ce pas? Gracias, mucho, etc., etc.
motorbike. I said, a big motorbike. Going down the road on my big motorbike. Oh, yeah. Said, yeah. Got a Kawasaki, Sumasaki, Suki, not to you, yeah.
So I said to this bloke, what do you think I'm doing? I love it. I love it, that rock and roll, I love it. It's like mumps, it's in my blood, you know. Oh. I do, I love it. It's like a religion to me, you know. 3-chord trick, I used to be there in the old days, playing Burnham Manning's Club. 18 months I did at Burnham Manning's Club. You don't get that for murder nowadays, do you? Wonderful man, Bernard, you know. He doesn't like me, Bernard, you know. Don't like me. I don't know why. He don't like me, though. He don't like me. And yet he's such a sensitive and wonderful person himself, you know. About as sensitive as a dinosaur with piles. Great bloke. Oh, he's a great bloke. How can somebody walk around with a brain that's been surgically dead for 24 years? Oh, he's amazing. Well, it's a wonderful thing to think that when the Pope comes to Manchester, he's coming to Manchester, the Pope, and he's going to hold a mass for 20,000 people in Burnham Manning's mouth. Great. But rock and roll is a religion to me, you know. I mean, the old days playing away their 3-chord tricks, you know, like... got no bags or bags to slow me down. And you move a little finger and make a 7th chord. Traveling so fast, my feet ain't touching the ground. 'Cause I'm dying for it. You know, all that sort of thing we used to do. I love it, you know. Love it. It's just like religion to me. Because I'm not a very religious person now, but I was brought up in a very strict religious person. I was brought up as a Roman Catholic, you know, left footer, you know. And no, I was, you know. I was the only one in our street as it happened, you know, and you'd be going to Mass on Sunday morning and all your mates would be shouting, "Oh, Roman catapult!" You shout, "Oh, proddy dogs eat boogies," nah, you know. But that was as far as it went, because there was never any real animosity, you know, religion was important, but you never fell out about it, you know, and it was sort of... Because you had more important things to do when you were a kid. You were playing, you know, games like, you know, you show me and I'll show you, you know. Saw some terrible things playing that game. Sure, the other kids wanted to use them as wickets. I said, it's not fair. You know, and doctors and nurses. Do you ever play doctors and nurses? Yeah. I got in trouble playing that, I did. Sawed a kid's head off. I said, I'll pour it back, I was only playing. Yeah, but we got taught religion at school as well, you see, being left-footers. We had, you know, a lot of religious classes at school, and Miss Worswick used to teach us religion. And it was really confusing when I was a kid, because I remember we were 5-year-old and we were sat in there, and Miss Worswick said, "Now, children, put everything in your desks and sit up straight and listen, because this is very, very important, what I'm going to tell you now. All you children have got something inside you that you can't see. It's the most important thing that you've got, but you can't see it or touch it or hear it or feel it." I thought, well, if it's bloody important, bugger it, I can't. I can't see it, touch it, feel it. She said, "This thing, children, is the most important thing any of you could have. It is your soul." Michael Coffey next to me and whispered in my ear, "Our soul." Yep. And I thought that was the answer to a question. I've got my hand up. "Miss Worswick, I know Miss Worswick." "Oh, Miss Worswick, ask me, Miss Worswick, ask me." She said, "Yes." I said, "Our souls, Miss Worswick." Ruler straight between the eyes. Ba-doom. She should have been a Matabele warrior, that woman. She was great with that ruler. She said, "I'll see you later." She said, "No, children, your soul is inside you, and when you're born and you're baptized and you're a baby, your soul becomes pure snow white, and it stays white until you commit horrible sins. And when you commit a sin, a black mark goes on your soul, and it stays there. And your soul, if you commit more sins, will get blacker and blacker and blacker. And if you die with your soul black, you'll go to hell and you'll burn forever and ever and ever and ever in fire and torment and pain." And I'm going, "Oh, I only pinched a pencil from Wally's, Miss Worswick. She said, but, and I thought, oh, there's a cop-out, thank God for that. She said, there is one person who will help you to not sin, who will help to stop you from sinning. This one person is the most important person in your life. This is your guardian angel. I said, please, Miss Worswick, I've never seen no angels cutting roses and digging flower beds up. She said, not a gardening angel, Harding. A guardian angel. She said, and your guardian angel, children, he goes everywhere with you. He never leaves your side for 1 minute. Wherever you go, your guardian angel is there. From the moment you're born till the moment you die, your guardian angel stays with you. Everywhere, he is at your side. I'm looking up. Hey, Coffee, you're sat on my guardian angel. He said, you're sat on mine. I said, get up, let's have a look. I said, I can't see. It must be stuck to your bum. I can't see it. Please, Miss Worswick, how big are these guardian angels? She said, guardian angels are big, taller than any men you know, and they've got beautiful golden blonde hair in locks that goes down to the waist, and they have a silvery, shiny robe that goes right down to the floor, and they have beautiful, big, white wings like swan's wings, and beautiful faces, and lovely, kind eyes, and they're invisible. I said, please, Miss Worswick. Please, Miss Worswick, please, how do you know they've got beautiful bonnets and silvery nighties on them, big flappers, if they're invisible? She said, clever dick, eh? I said, I don't know, Miss Worswick, I've never asked it no questions. What's 7 take away 3? It doesn't know, Miss Worswick. She said, I'll see you later, your guardian angel. And she went on and on about these guardian angels, and I believed her, because Miss Worswick was our teacher, and teachers were always right, and Miss Worswick had been right about the goldfish dying if we painted it black. That night on the bus, I paid for him. 2, please. Me and him. Who? Me and him. Oh, right. And I went in our house. Hello, Mum. Hello, Dad. Hello, Christina. Hello, Gram. Come on, Paul, get something to eat. Come on. The Gram's going, Holy Mother of God, the child's possessed. She's got holy water thrown at him. She's talking to somebody who wasn't there. I sat at the table. I said, sit here, Paul, I'll get you something to eat. Must be starving. Didn't know you were there for 5 years. Nobody told me. We got in bed that night. I'm making myself small so there's room for him. Come on, get him. Get him. Get your feet on the hot water bottle. You must be freezing cold wobbling around them clouds with no shoes and socks on. Get him. Oh, I believed. He was everywhere with me. Walked round. Used to take him out to the pictures. What do you think of that one then? Rubbish, wasn't it? You know. But the worst thing was, when you were playing football on the croft with the lads, like, we were all playing football, like, you know, and you know what you're like when you're kids, you're eating loads of pop and you're out playing football. I was bursting for a Jimmy Riddle, you know. But the trouble is, I didn't know where he was. I'm saying, hey, watch out now, I'm having a pee over here. Keep out of my way. Because you don't want to pee on your guardian angel, do you? You know what I mean? Because while he's away wringing his smock out, the devil can get you. Oh, but she got me in loads of trouble doing Miss Worswick at school. One March, she said, this is the month of March, children. Now, what is March important for Catholics? What is it important for Catholics? Does anybody know? Me. Tadpoles, Miss Worswick. Ruler. No, Harding. March is important because it's the month of a very famous and very important saint. Now, which saint is this the month of? Now, Bernadette never skated you because she got a missal open under her desk and she was reading off it. St. Joseph, Miss Worswick. Very good, Bernadette. St. Joseph. Now, what is St. Joseph the patron saint of? Tadpoles, Miss Worswick. Ruler. Well, the worst thing was the first time I did commit a big sin. You've never seen anybody move so fast to church in your life. Sanctuary! It was the first time I ever had carnival knowledge of a lady. It was nothing really serious by today's standards. It was nothing. You know, I was only 12 years old, for God's sake. You know, nothing really serious. It was just a bit of touchy-touchy, you know. Bit of lucky-lucky as well, but no, you know. No putty innies or anything like that, you know, just... And to be fair, I was led astray, quite honestly. I mean, she was an older woman than me. She was mature. She was 13 and a half. She was a woman of the world. And the lads knew her. She had her own bike. She was mobile. She used to... The lads knew her. She was called Fields on Wheels. Everybody knew her. I didn't know. But I knew it was a sin because I'd enjoyed it. I knew it must be a sin. I've enjoyed it. And I'd started turning to stone like me dad told me I would, you know. And I thought, Blimey, I better get to church quick before this spreads, you know, because I thought it's going to... And I started really... It was wearing off about halfway there, but I thought, take no chances. And I got there. And I pushed all these old ladies out of the way and they're hitting me with rosary beads and stop it, you know. And I jumped the queue like they're all muttering, he's banging on the door and things. And I flung myself down in the confessional light, and they can't see you, there's a screen there, like, and he couldn't see me. Like, I said, bless me, Father, for I have sin, please. I said, this is 12 hours since my last confession. Please, Father, I've committed a sin of impurity. He said, was it by yourself or with somebody else? I didn't know you could do it by yourself. You would have saved me 4 park driving a packet of Smarties if I'd known that. I'll tell you what, with somebody else you turn it. What are you talking about? He said, was it a boy or a girl? I didn't know that either. That was something else. I thought, I'd never look at Wolfie in the same light again. I said, no, it was a girl. He said, there's too much of this thing going on in this parish with the young people. He said, who was it? I said, I can't say that. I can't tell you that. He said, well, you don't have to say who it is. He said, I'll mention some names, and when I get to the name, you cough. I said, it wasn't you cough. No, it wasn't you cough. Never heard of anybody call you. He said, not you cough, you cough. You cough, you cough. I said, is there a price for the answer to this? He said, no, I'll mention a name, and when I get to the name, you make a coughing noise. I said, OK. He said, was it Teresa Feeney? I said, no. Was it Maureen O'Halloran? I said, no. He said, was it Patricia Driscoll? I said, no. Was it Patricia Henderson? No. Was it Cynthia Teal? I said, no. He said, was it Sheila Bevan? I said, no. He said, was it none of these? I said, no, Father. He said, well, get out and don't waste my time now. Go on, get out and come back when you're ready to tell me properly. Go on. He threw me out. I got out, my mate said, how'd you go on? I said, well, I got some good tips for next week. I said this. True. But because of the changes and because now they've got like folk masses and rock and roll masses and things and you've got like Jesus Christ Superstar and Rock Nativity, I decided to write my own rock and roll religious song. And I want you to watch, you people at home especially, all you people on the front row, watch this right leg. This may look a mundane and ordinary right leg to most of you out there. You may say, what is he talking about, this headbanger? I can see nothing wrong with that leg apart from the fact that it's got a patriotic bottom end, you see. But this right leg is more than an ordinary right leg. It is a drum-playing right leg. This right leg is the Gene Krupa, the Sandy Nelson, the Louis Belson of legs. This leg on its own plays the drums. I'm going to say no more than that. You're going to be mystified and amazed. This leg will play subtle movements, but it will play the drums. Right. Deep in the convent something stirred. Was not a mouse, not a little tiny bird. Mother Superior said, bless my soul, them noises in the cloisters sound like rock and roll. She's a rock and roll nun,
Amazing everyone.
a boogie-woogie sister where the fingers blistered, while the other Carmelites are praising the Lord. Sister Wilhelmina's rapping out the chords. At Mass and Vespers every day, she bears herself in a very nunly way, but instead of sleeping like a good nun should, she's wrapping up the boogie on Johnny Be Good. She's a rock and roll nun,
Amazing everyone.
a boogie-woogie sister with her fingers blistered, while the other Carmelites are praising the Lord. Sister Wilhelmina's rapping out the chords. With the amp turned up to 20 megawatts, Sister Wilhelmina rocks around the clock, so it's 1 for the money, 2 for the show. The sisters are all bopping, saying, go, nun, go, she's a rock and roll nun. Amazing, everyone! A boogie-woogie sister with her fingers blistered, while the other Carmelites are praising the Lord. Sister Wilhelmina's wiping out the chords. With a Hank Marvin glasses and an Eric Clapton beard, Sister Wilhelmina looks a little weird. All the other nuns are having high frolics. Sister Wilhelmina's dropping loads of notes. She's a rock and roll nun. Amazing, everyone! A boogie-woogie sister with her fingers blistered, while the other Carmelites are praising the Lord. Sister Wilhelmina's wiping out the chords. Sister Wilhelmina's not playing on her own. Mother Superior's learning saxophone. And from St. Peter's the word has come. The Pope's up all night practicing the drum. She's a rock and roll nun. Amazing, everyone! A boogie-woogie sister with her fingers blistered, while the other Carmelites are praising the Lord. Sister Wilhelmina's wiping out the chords. Thank you. All night practicing the drum. She's a rock and roll nun. Amazing, everyone. A boogie-woogie sister with her fingers blistered, while the other Carmelites are praising the Lord. Sister Wilhelmina's wiping out the chords. Thank you. Good night.